All in Sports Network. We love sports.
It is Thursday, May 15th, right here on your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns. I'm Tanner Carlson. That's Jake Jimerson. This is presented to you by Rogue Sports Network, and this is All in Horns. So during the last PGA Major, we gave you a Masters preview. Too bad we weren't live at Augusta. We're also not live from Quail Hollow, but maybe one of these days we'll get the sponsorship to go ship us out to a major championship. That sure would be a lot of fun. But until that point in time, Jake and I are going to give you another PGA major preview, one of the four that we will do this season. And PGA Championship starts today. It's actually already started. In fact, you've already got some of the featured groups teeing off and well into their round by this point because it is being played in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so, but with this episode dropping at noon, this is pre-recorded the night before. This will be on a Wednesday night recording. And so, yeah, we're going to go ahead and give you our predictions, our thoughts on what's going to happen Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday throughout the weekend of the PGA, and give you a little bit of fun facts and kind of give you some of our takes on what we think is going to happen this weekend. It'll probably be a shorter episode for you as well, just because we are not golf experts. We just thoroughly enjoy golf and we've kept up with it. And I think we can talk about golf sounding somewhat knowledgeable for about 15 minutes before we start sounding like idiots that we don't know what we're talking about. So without further ado, Jake, your excitement when it comes to the PGA Championship, I would say that it's probably on the lower end of the majors when it comes to like recognition. And the first ones that you mentioned, obviously there's the Masters. Then I think people go US Open, and then probably the Open, which used to be formerly known as the British Open, and then the PGA Championship. I would probably qualify more so on that fourth tier.
Yeah, but you're talking a fourth tier that's on a tier one level. Sure, I mean, absolutely. The master sits up top for me. Whether you like the US Open more, the Open more, depends what plot of land you are on this spinning ball that we live on.
What side of the pond are you?
I will say, when it's at the old course, I do love the Open, because the old course is one of the coolest courses, just because of how old it is, the history behind it. It's just in the middle of a park,
and it's a public park. You and I can go play it for like $75.
Yeah, I intend to play that at some point in my life. Not well, but I do intend to play it. But
I'm not going over the apartment building. I'm not cutting that corner, by the way. I refuse to kill somebody. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't need to be locked up in prison for murder in a different country or any country for that standpoint. But yeah, I mean, compared to the other majors, yeah, it's probably, the bottom, but it's still a major. And I'm still really excited to see it this weekend. The majors, I just enjoy watching all golf tournaments now, because I guess I'm old now, but the majors for me are like must have on. I try to clear my schedule, especially on Sunday, to make sure that I'm able to just sit down and watch that final round, especially the final groupings. Because there's nothing better than a major on Sunday, regardless of what major it is.
You're 100% correct, Jake. Last year, the previous winner was Xander Schauffele. Xander Schauffele gone through a little bit of an injury bug over the offseason, and to kind of start this season, he's got a rib issue that he's kind of been trying to work his way back from. I think I saw he's got one top 10 finish this season. Statistically just kind of near the bottom of the PGA this year. Again, he's just trying to work his way back from the injury. Any thoughts on Schauffele's, potential of defending his championship, at least, staying on the leaderboard going into the final day?
When he's on, he has a chance. It's just whether he has the ability to be on. Golf is such a fickle sport where you get injured. It took Scotty Scheffler a little bit of time to really get back I mean, he just won his first tournament of the season just a couple weeks ago, which isn't that crazy because it's only May, but for him, it's crazy when you consider what he was doing last year.
And he also hasn't finished outside of the top 25 at all.
This season. But for him, I mean, you're on the Scotty Scheffler scale where like winning is expected, right? But it did take him. He did have like some bad rounds here or there, but then you have a really good round, but the consistency wasn't quite there. And that's with the best golfer in the world right now. And Xander Schauffele is can be that best golfer in the world, as he showed last year, winning more majors than Scotty. Doesn't really get talked about enough when everyone had him on their radar. Then he became the guy who couldn't do it, and then he did it. And so, if he's able to just kind of get it going, the mental side as well as the physical side. I mean, when he's on, he can beat anyone in the world. He's proven that. Do I think that's going to happen this weekend? No, because we just haven't seen him at that level again since last year. So I don't think he has a real good shot, but he's a competitor, and I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out and at least hangs in there the first 2 or 3 days. But with those injuries, typically, that third, fourth day is where it gets a lot harder.
Yeah. Just muscles you're starting to get worn down. The endurance starts kicking in there for Saturday, Sunday. Other major storylines, Jake. Obviously, Rory McIlroy no longer needing to just kind of fight that can't win the majors anymore type storyline. He's kind of got that in his rearview mirror. Obviously, winning and completing his Grand Slam at the Masters just about a month ago. But Rory, quite a bit of a history here at Quail Hollow. He has won at Quail Hollow 4 times before in his professional career. And on top of that, he's a 2-time PGA champion. That was coming back in 2011 and 2014. So it's been a little while, been over a decade since he's won this tournament. But he's very familiar with this course, likes this course. I think he's finished. He's won it 4 times, but I think he's finished like top 10, 6 of his last 8 times playing this course. So obviously, with the type of golf that Rory is playing, it being a major, it being the PGA Championship, which he's won twice, I mean, he's got to be coming in as one of the favorites, which betting odds suggest that as well.
Yeah, I think Rory's scary this weekend. He's coming in probably feeling pretty free. I mean, there's got to be so much stress off of his shoulders. Granted, some of that self-imposed stress because he was already going to be one of the best golfers to ever play the sport, regardless of whether he won that Masters. But now that he won that Masters, finished the career Grand Slam, proved he can still win a major, has won, multiple tournaments this year, counting the Masters. If I'm a player, you could bet, like, if you're going to bet Rory and Scotty or the field, I'm probably betting Rory and Scotty.
Yeah.
Just because of how good Scotty played a couple weeks ago and him looking like he's back. And then Rory, to me, just being a complete danger at any major moving forward now, because that monkey's off his back and he's going to be swinging free. And when Rory, I feel like when there's less pressure on him, he just can do some ridiculous things, because when he just decides he wants to go for it and the shot looks impossible, he's typically one of the only golfers in the world, other than maybe Scotty Scheffler, that can make those types of shots. And we saw those types of shots at the Masters. And then we saw him kind of tense up at the end and almost blow it, and then end up being able to win it. And now I think he's going to be coming in probably playing pretty stress-free golf. And a stress-free Rory is a scary thought.
Yeah, they've also extended the holes, the tee boxes on, I want to say, a couple of these longer par 4s. They've actually made them longer. I was reading somewhere, because, again, I'm the same age as you are, Jake, and I'm just getting to that point of where golf is becoming obsessive. I was reading about Quail Hollow. Yeah, that's how exciting my afternoon was during my lunch break. But what they did on the 9th hole, which was already one of the hardest holes on the course, if not the hardest, it's the longest par 4 previously to this tournament. They extended the tee box out 40 more yards. So it's about a 600-yard par 4, which bodes well for Rory, bodes well for DeChambeau, bodes well for these big hitters. And as technical as the golf course is, if those guys can stay on the fairway and stay out of the rough, I mean, they're a shoo-in to at least gain a stroke or two on those longer par 4s at Quail Hollow, which is why Rory is historically so good at this course, because it is a longer bombers course.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason the top 3 betting odds players are Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Bryson DeChambeau. There is a reason for that, because this course plays well to their styles. There's a reason Victor Hovland's in the top 10 of the betting odds, despite him not really competing very heavily in some of the majors lately, because for Victor Hovland, this course is going to work very well for him. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's also threatening a guy that's sitting there, in the top 10 of betting odds that you maybe wouldn't expect to be sitting there. So I this course plays really well to those big hitters, like you said. And I think it's going to be an exciting weekend because this is one of those tournaments where the players have to grind it out.
Yep.
This is where you see the best players in the world struggle. And you get to sit there and say one of us, but the reality is, even if you were like a 9 handicap and you were playing at this course in the condition it is for the weekend, you would probably shoot over 100, even if you're a guy who typically shot in the 80s or 70s.
Yeah, no, you'd have a tough time. That rough is thick. Balls are going to be buried.
And the greens are just ice.
Yeah, it's like playing on concrete. Jake, we mentioned Scotty a little bit. I want to move. We talked Scotty Scheffler, obviously a Texas grad. Let's talk a little bit Jordan Spieth, a storyline I think going under the radar. Another opportunity here, career Grand Slam. We could see 2 in 1 year. He's got his other major wins in the Masters and the Open and the U.S. Open, coming back in 2015 and 2017, getting the Open victory. Never has won the PGA Championship. Don't have a long history with him at Quail Hollow. I didn't do that type of research, unfortunately. However, he is sitting right outside the top 10 in terms of betting odds at plus 4,100. Can Spieth, playing a little bit better recently, a little bit better, still a little inconsistent, but playing, his approaches have been a little bit better. What odds do you give him? Not Vegas betting odds. What odds do you give him of possibly completing his career Grand Slam this weekend?
Not very high. He's just been, he has been playing better, and I feel like his game has just been, it's been a very slow climb, but it's been getting incremental, and I do mean incrementally better each year. In the last like 2 or 3 years. And I do think he can still win majors in his career. I have no doubt about that. I just don't think it's going to be this weekend. He's not a huge hitter. He's too inconsistent off the tee, and getting in the rough and in bad positions is going to lead to him probably pressing and throwing up a double bogey, throwing up a triple bogey. He may also get eagles. It's going to be probably a similar Spieth experience to what we've seen at times this year. And I don't think this will be the tournament. I could see him competing in a major later this year if he can keep improving. I just don't see it working at this course. I don't see the consistency yet in his game to be competing to win a major championship, especially one that's at Quail Hollow.
Are you surprised by the plus 4,100 odds? I mean, I know those aren't great odds, but
it's because of the name. I mean, it's like when Texas under Tom Herman would be like 12th in national championships odds, and you're like, we're not going to win 9 games. What are you talking about? It's not to that level. I mean, Spieth has a better chance than those teams did, but I just mean he shouldn't be there. Like, he probably shouldn't be ahead of even a Brooks Koepka, who seems to always have a major buff. And Spieth is what he is. And right now, that is, an inconsistent wild ride with a lot of highs, but also a lot of lows. And I'm sure that's what we're going to see this weekend.
Speaking of Blake Koepka, he is, I think his last 3 or 4 finishes at Quail Hollow was like tied for 4th, tied for 5th, like ending, finishing up in the top 10. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw Brooks Koepka have a little bit of a run this weekend. It would depend a lot on how his Thursday, Friday goes. Because he's not one of those guys I just see barely making the cut Thursday, Friday, then making a big jump on Saturday. But if he's within the top 10, top 15 coming in on Saturday on moving day, we could see a Brooks Koepka run towards the end of this thing.
Yeah, I mean, Brooks Koepka has been very open that he enjoys golf. He always wants to win, but the majors are what is most important to him. He doesn't feel like he has anything else to prove in his career other than racking up majors.
Yep. He is
a major hunter. Yep. That's why he went to live, because he's just like, I care about winning golf tournaments, but winning, the truest Open isn't what matters to me at this point in my career. It's winning majors. Yep. And some people hate that, and I get that. But he's proven that he can do that and compete in majors. He's almost won a major just about every single year of his career. It feels like he's either close or wins one.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I mean, him being below Jordan Spieth is a little odd to me in the odds. I'd be curious to see what like his odds are for like a top 5 finish. I could definitely maybe sprinkle a little bit of money on a top 5 finish for Brooks Koepka this weekend. But I think his game also lines up well for Quail Hollow. He's another one who I think his game lines up well. But it's can he keep himself in it Thursday and Friday and put himself in a position to make a push? Because it feels like when he has a little momentum going into the weekend, he does a really good job of capitalizing off of it. But if he just barely makes the cut, it's just almost like I don't have a chance anyways.
Yep. Yeah, he checks out. He truly is one of us when it comes to the mentality of the game. Now, whenever he has it on, he turns it on. He's a different animal.
He can have that Kobe type mentality whenever he is in a major and it's on a weekend. He has that mentality about him. But he's got to get to that point. Yeah. So Thursday, Friday will be big. It doesn't
come naturally to him. It doesn't come to him when he's 10 strokes back from the lead. He's like, all right, well, I'll just finish this weekend out.
Yeah, he's not like, well, I'm going to try to finish top 20. He's like, oh, I didn't win. So it's like almost like a Mamba type mentality to the extreme, where it's actually a Ricky Bobby type look. It's like if you're not first, you're last.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Jake, before we sign off on this episode, and I hope everybody enjoyed the golf talk. I know I enjoy talking golf with you guys. Potential dark horse, Jake. I've got one for you, and I'll give you the betting odds on them if anybody wants to jump on this with me. Someone who I think has been playing some pretty decent golf that has kind of been fluctuating up and down on these leaderboards over the last couple of weekends. The man from Ireland, Shane Lowry. I like, he's kind of middle of the pack in terms of betting odds. He's plus 6,500 at this moment in time, which puts him around that 20-30 range. And so I think, he has the potential of, again, when he stays in there and he has that big hitters, mentality, it's the technical part. Whenever he's around the green, man, he is so good. His chips, just getting it close to the pin. I think that could be very advantageous on this type of course of getting, up and down when you're in the rough, when you're in the bunker. If you can get out of those situations, which Shane Lowry is a really, really good golfer at getting out of those situations and putting it close to the pin to get up and down for par or save a bogey or whatever that is. I think that's going to bode well for him when other golfers might crumble under those types of situations. I like Shane Lowry as kind of a dark horse pick.
Yeah, I like that pick because when I started thinking dark horses, I saw on the doc we were going to do dark horses. He was one of the first names that came to mind. I was like, oh, he already picked it. Yeah. So I couldn't pick it, but I went with Max Homa, who's a plus 11,000 on the odds, by the way. So this is a dark horse as far as the odds go. But he's been playing much better golf this year.
And I know another major guy, who just shows up for a major, and you're like, I haven't heard of Max Homa's name in 5 weeks, but here comes a major, and then boom, there he is.
And he's been, he didn't make a cut but he went from being a top 5 golfer in the world for a very long stretch, like a year and a half, 2 years, to not making a cut for about a year. And then it started at the Masters this year. He kind of kept himself in that, wasn't able to kind of get that final push to really compete to win the tournament. But then he's been making cuts. He's been playing better and better golf. I'm not saying he's going to win it. I'm not saying he's going to be competing to win it come Sunday. But I also wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden it's like, whoa, Max Homa's in third place, only 4 shots back. On a Sunday, what happened here? And so when you talk about dark horses, I try to, not name someone who's in the top 15 or top 20. I try to name someone who's a little bit more, and, Max Homa's a kind of a big name at this point. But obviously when it comes to the betting odds side, no one's believing in him. So I'll throw some belief in on Max Homa to do something this weekend.
Throw a couple bucks his way, Jake. See how it turns out for you. So, but no, that's going to do it. Who's your official prediction, your official winner, Jake?
Man, I'm going to go Scotty Scheffler. I'm just going to pick the basic pick.
He hasn't had a major outside of the Augusta. Is he a Masters merchant? Some people are asking. So this would be a huge win for him still.
Yeah, I think he's going to win a major this year that obviously is not the Masters since that already happened. I think he's going to win a major this year. And so why not just go ahead and roll with him in this one, especially when he just played one of the most dominant golf tournaments in the history of the PGA 2 weeks ago.
Jake, I really like Ludwig Oberg in this situation, but my winner, I'm gonna go Bryson DeChambeau.
Wow, you're going with my Masters pick, which I didn't want to pick him again.
Yeah. You know, we don't like to jump on a single bandwagon when it comes to golf, unless it's a top notch Jordan Spieth. Jordan Spieth is my guy, by the way. Like as low as I talk about him right now, I'm realistic of where he's playing. When he's at the top of his game, it will always be Jordan Spieth for me, and then Scotty will be right there underneath him. Which he's gone under an incredible run, and I really enjoy watching Scotty play. I've never been a DeChambeau supporter. I've never really been a fan of his. I'll tell you what, though. I like watching him play now. I don't know if it's the YouTube content that he's putting out, social media presence. I don't know what it is. He's way more likable than he's ever been, and I'd like to see him get a major. I'd like to see him get another one.
Yeah, I just like DeChambeau at this point. I mean, I can just say it now. I hated him. I mean, I hated him just a few years ago, but
I was team Brooks Koepka all day.
But they're friends now. I mean, they worked it out, and he stopped being so phony and just started being, we talked about this on our Masters preview, but he's made himself one of the more liked golfers on the tour, or at least I guess now when it's majors times, but through YouTube golf and just being himself, which is a little bit dorky, but I don't care as long as it's genuine. Yeah. And at least he's genuine now, and his golf game is just really fun to watch.
And
he's not muscle man trying to be something he's not anymore. He's pretty skinny now, and he still just hits the absolute shit out of the ball.
Yeah, he still hits some big bombers. You know, he's still Mr. Swing at everything I've got in it.
Drove like a 400-yard green the other week and live.
Right. I mean, the dude still bombs the crap out of things, but he's become much more technical, become much more accurate, and I've enjoyed watching his game. And I think this weekend, I'm going with the big hitter this weekend. I just think it's a big hitter's course, and I know he's a top 3 betting odds favorite, but there's a reason why. And so I'm gonna go with DeChambeau, third best odds. I think Rory's going to be up there top 5. I think Scotty's going to be up there top 10, top 5-ish range. I think we're going to have some big names at the top of the leaderboard. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, Colin Morikawa is another big name that I think will be right up there. That's also, in the top 10 of betting odds. Justin Thomas has been playing better, right? I think we're going to see all these names that are in the top 10 to 15 of the betting odds. I think we're going to see a lot of them competing for a major come Sunday.
Yep. All right, Jake, that's going to do it for today's episode. Let's go ahead, put a bow on it. And then in tomorrow's episode, we're going to be talking softball. They start their regional game. They have Eastern Illinois as they prepare for their regional postseason play. And so we are going to give you a full breakdown of that game later on in the afternoon to wrap up the week's episodes. So for Jake Jimerson, I'm Tanner Carlson. Enjoy your PGA Championship major weekend. We will be right here with you every step of the way. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, give us a like, share, and a subscribe, and hook 'em.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.